When coaching the power clean, there are many things as a coach that you want to consider. For us, the most immediate is, do they have adequate range of motion to perform the exercise, and can they perform it with the base amount of strength required to do the movement, and can they do it at speed? When we first teach someone the power clean, we like this as an introduction to the clean because there's limited range of motion that's required on the back end of the lift, meaning after you catch the bar on the shoulders, you don't have to drop all the way down. So for people that lack the technicality or lack the range of motion, this is a great way to learn. Even better for some people, using the hang power clean in the standing position is optimal because we can limit the range of motion required on the front end of the lift. Not only that, what you'll notice is that an individual starts standing with their back flat. That position is a position that we try to hold and maintain through the lift, whereas a power clean from the ground or a squat clean from the ground, it's harder for beginner athletes to manipulate their spine appropriately to get their back flat. We call this a top-down approach, meaning we start from the standing position and work the technique and the progression through that, versus bottom-up approach that will teach the individual the lift from the ground. So that's one. Two, there has to be a base level of strength. Can the individual squat appropriately? Can they deadlift appropriately? What is their current level of experience at this program or at these lifts? Now, obviously, people who have done these lifts before can progress much faster than individuals that have no experience with the barbell. We see that time and time again, especially with the more technical snatch. And three, what is their range of motion like? There are requirements that are involved for an individual to be able to do the power clean well. Because we're not dropping all the way down to the deadlift, the hamstring typically is not a limiting factor. The limiting factor on the power clean is going to be the individual's flexibility and mobility at the shoulder. Can the individual maintain a strong rack position when they catch the bar in the rack? That's something that we want to develop. And many times when I coach this lift, I'm actually putting the athlete, shoving that bar in the rack position, placing that bar in the rack position, and getting those individuals to just build comfortability with the bar in the rack, because it is a very uncomfortable position as it is, and even more uncomfortable if you're not used to it. So what we're looking for when we recognize is that an individual needs to learn how to manipulate their shoulders, that with good posture, my shoulder blades sit down and back. But in a solid rack position, that can't happen because it won't allow us to manipulate the bar onto the body. So we actually have to elevate the shoulders, what I call puffing the shoulders. Almost looks like a second bicep, and it's that position there that the bar can come and sit across appropriately here. That's something that you have to manipulate always through the repetitions, because otherwise the bars, your shoulder blades will sit down and back, and the bar will force a position here versus here. Start them from the standing position, ensure that there's a base level of strength to progress them forward, and that they understand appropriately that where that bar needs to sit in relationship to the shoulders and not the collarbone. Those three things we find the smoothest transition as a coach from teaching an individual who has no experience or very little experience with the bar to eventually moving into squat clean.